Right in the middle of class, a teacher Viola low-key hikes up her skirt, just enough to show off a tantalizing bit of her stockings. She then slides a room number onto the corner of a textbook, basically baiting Stig to see if he's down. Stig is still pretty green and innocent, so he trips out at first, but he ends up using a fake question as an alibi to stay after the bell and corner her. When he hands back a dictionary, he makes a calculated move and accidentally brushes his hand against her calf. Viola doesn't flinch. Her silence is the only green light he needs, and as they lock eyes, you can tell this is the start of a really messy, twisted romance. Make no mistake, this isn't some cute schoolboy crush. It's a ruthless power trip fueled by pure lust and a straight shot to rock bottom. The next day, Stig volunteers to help her fetch supplies from upstairs, and when he conveniently breaks a handrail, they use a perfectly timed pass by the principal as cover to basically press their bodies together. Once they're hidden in a dark corner upstairs, they finally cross the line and take a bite of the forbidden fruit. Back in class, Stig's frantically wiping lipstick off his mouth, both of them thinking they've hit the jackpot while being totally blind to the dark abyss they just jumped into. Viola is the it teacher at school, radiating this irresistible, mature vibe, but she's actually suffocatingly lonely until Stig enters the picture. He's the smartest kid in the room, but dripping with teenage rebellion. Ever since their first meeting when she singled him out with a piercing look, he's been hooked, constantly checking out her silhouette and lingering by her desk just to get a whiff of her perfume. With her low-key egging him on, his clumsy crush turns into a total wildfire. Driven by hormones, Stig's always talking trash with his buddies about adult topics and even comparing sizes in the bathroom. One afternoon, he takes some chewed gum, loads it into a slingshot, and snipes a fly right out of the air, a weird stunt that successfully grabs Viola's attention. She keeps him after the bell, acting like she's scolding him, but she knows exactly what dirty talk he's been up to. She makes him hand over a raunchy note and read it out loud, leaving the poor kid paralyzed with embarrassment. But instead of busting him, she looks intrigued and drops a comment so bold it leaves Stig's jaw on the floor. She won't let him leave, making him clean dead flies off the board just to keep him trapped there. While he works, Stig's eyes wander to the skin on her neck, and even though she catches him red-handed, she doesn't say a word because she thrives on the thrill of his obsession. This is the beginning of his total downward spiral. Viola plays him like a pro, manipulating his every move and using her authority to hook him with special favors and lingering eye contact. They start meeting up in dark library corners, where she introduces him to adult games without explaining the rules. Blinded by the taboo, Stig thinks he's in paradise, totally unaware he's just a pawn she's using to escape her lonely life and a trash marriage. He's so drunk on the affair that he completely ignores Levitt, the girl next door who's constantly bumping into him to get his attention, and bolts to his gig at the cinema. There, he runs into his older brother Sig, a Navy sailor he idolizes for his ability to bed women in every port. Meanwhile, the tension with Viola hits a boiling point. Stig's constantly spying on her office, which she secretly gets off on, but he's forced to keep his wildest fantasies locked inside his head. During midterms, while everyone else is sweating over the test, Stig's eyes are glued to her body. Every time she walks down his aisle, he orchestrates accidental friction, and Viola just flashes a knowing smirk, perfectly content to play his wicked game. Stig is still totally hooked. Every morning he's out there creeping from a distance, watching her step out in this seductive purple robe, a total 180 from her buttoned-up teacher look. An opening pops up when the class monitor calls in sick. Viola needs a volunteer to grab some supplies from the storage room, and Stig's hand shoots up before she can even finish the sentence. Following her up the stairs, he's completely hypnotized by the way her skirt moves. He's so distracted, he straight up snaps a wooden handrail. As Viola rushes over, they hear the principal's footsteps nearby. Panic mode hits, and she shoves Stig into a dark corner. That's when Stig loses all his chill. He leans in, finally smashing through that line they've been dancing around. Wanting more, they duck into the dimly lit storage room and lose track of time until the school bell snaps them back to reality. Back at his desk, Stig's touching his swollen lips, totally high on the forbidden thrill. They're officially in the deep end now. But a few quick touches aren't cutting it anymore. A few days later, while the rest of the class is busy watching fighter jets roar by outside, Stig notices Viola is missing. He fakes a fever, bolts from school, and runs straight to her house. The second that front door clicks shut, they cross the ultimate point of no return. To keep things on the down low, Viola warns him to watch out for her husband, Kel. Of course, on his way out, Stig runs right into the guy. His heart is pounding, and he's stuttering out some random small talk, but surprisingly, Kel doesn't suspect a thing. Feeling bold after that close call, Stig uses tutoring as the perfect cover. They're trading dirty, flirty looks right in the middle of class, totally living for the danger. Pretty soon, Viola's house is their personal playground, and Stig's even sneaking into her bed in the middle of the night. On Viola's birthday, Stig creeps over with a bouquet, but Kel beats her home. Terrified, Stig hides in a corner, expecting a beatdown. Instead, Kel shows him his secret liquor stash. Turns out, he's just a broken salesman crushed by adult life, drowning his problems in a bottle. As a wasted Kel pours his heart out, Stig feels the heavy, suffocating weight of the adult world for the first time. Taking advantage of Kel being a drunken mess, Stig basically moves in, but the guilt starts eating at him. When Viola isn't around, Kel treats Stig like a son, bonding over old records and life advice. Inspired by Kel, Stig brings a record home, which leads to a nasty fight with his strict dad when he refuses to turn the volume down. Bruised and looking for an out, Stig runs back to Viola's. But Kel is waiting for him. He's sitting quietly at the table and signals the boy to come over. Stig is standing there, wearing nothing but Viola's robe. They're busted. Stig braces for the worst, but Kel is chillingly calm. He confesses his own dark secret, a drunken one-night stand years ago that ruined his marriage. Consumed by guilt, Kel has just been letting Viola have her revenge through endless affairs. He breaks down crying, pours his booze down the sink, and swears he's done drinking. A few days later, that promise goes up in smoke. A bad investment forces Kel to sell the house, and he's back on the bottle. Seeing him so broken shatters the illusion for Stig. While Kel is passed out, a desperate Viola tries to pull Stig into the bedroom, but the spell is broken. Instead of following her, Stig grabs a heavy blanket and carefully covers the broken husband. Desperate to escape this toxic mess and just be a kid again, Stig tries to go back to normal. He meets up with his cute neighbor, Lisbeth. She locks her bedroom door, promises to show him something new, and drops her clothes. But Stig can't even look at her. He's totally traumatized by the affair. Feeling insulted, Lisbeth kicks him out. After that wake-up call, Stig starts completely ghosting Viola. He doesn't fall for her traps anymore. Disgusted that she won't just divorce Kel, he's a different person now. Determined to fix things with Lisbeth, he finds her in the gym hiding inside a wooden vaulting box and slips her a note. She smiles, ditches her friends, and climbs into the dark, cramped box with him. While their classmates are literally jumping over their heads, the two share a sweet, innocent moment, finally crawling out with red cheeks and the promise of a real, normal teenage romance. Just as Stig finally gets a taste of what a normal, innocent romance feels like, his entire world gets ripped apart. A grim letter arrives from the military. The warship his hero brother served on has been sunk. Crushed by the news, Stig retreats to the kitchen and starts pounding hard liquor, looking exactly like the broken-down Kel he once pitied. The brutal reality of being an adult hits him like a freight train. Desperate to protect his mom from the news on the radio, he turns the kitchen faucet on full blast to drown out the broadcast. But a mother's intuition is sharp, she already knows. Stepping up as the man of the house while his dad is away, Stig chokes back his own tears just to keep her from falling apart. Burying his grief, Stig buries himself in his shifts at the cinema. No, a neglected Viola is a dangerous Viola. Unable to handle being ghosted, she tracks him down at his job. In a total freak stroke of bad luck, Lisbeth shows up looking for him at the exact same time and walks right into a sickeningly compromising scene between Stig and his teacher. Just like that, his first shot at pure love is dead on arrival. The next day, Stig confronts Viola, ready to cut the cord for good, but Viola goes off the deep end. She rips open her blouse, smashes a glass bottle, and physically backs him into a corner, forcing him to give in. But even as he yields, his eyes are dead. Realizing she's completely lost her grip on him, Viola plays dirty. She marches straight to the principal and weaponizes her power, accusing Stig of harassing her and demanding he be kicked out of school. Cornered and with no defense, Stig sprints to the classroom to find that textbook with her handwriting his only real proof, but she's already trashed it. His last hope is Kel, the husband who knows the truth, but Kel is too drunk and too much of a coward to risk his pathetic marriage to save a teenager. Just when things couldn't get any worse, the final blow lands. His brother's body has been recovered. Hope is officially dead. Numb and broken, Stig sits alone in the empty theater, obsessively replaying the newsreel of his brother being dragged from the icy water. He used to want nothing more than to grow up and be just like him, but his hero is gone forever. At the memorial service, the military hymns sound like a death march. On the train ride home, his mom finally brings up the expulsion, but she doesn't yell. She just breaks down, blaming herself for his mess. The weight of it all finally crashes down on Stig. He goes looking for his strict, hardened father and finds him standing alone on the train's rear balcony. His dad is sobbing, screaming the funeral hymn into the wind, desperate to feel close to his dead son. Seeing his father's shattered heart, Stig finally gets what it really means to be a man. He marches into the crowded assembly hall and walks straight up to Viola. Without saying a word, his fearless, piercing glare humiliates her in front of everyone. Terrified of a scandal and her own ruin, Viola's eyes dart away. She's officially defeated. With his business finished, Stig silently turns his back on her. He goes back to class, empties his desk, and throws away the textbooks that fueled their secret. All Things Fair isn't some cheap fantasy about a teacher-student fling. It's a brutal story about youth, war, and total wreckage. It proves that chasing twisted desires can never fix a broken heart. Viola isn't just a villain. She's a tragic shadow of a woman suffocated by a miserable era, using lust as a desperate, self-destructive escape. Stig is the face of arrogant youth, thinking passion conquers, all while being totally blind to reality. Set against the dark clouds of World War II, the film shows that when life loses its way in the middle of a war, people reach for anything lust, ignorant love, but in the end, it's all in vain.